Good morning, everyone. I'm glad that you're here in the last day of PowerShell Conference Europe 2018. My name is Wojciech Ściesiński. I work as a senior software engineer, DevOps at Mobica. On daily basis, I use Ansible to configure usually Linux machines. But I was also interested how Ansible works with Windows. So today I will present you how you can use your skills, PowerShell skills, to extend Ansible workflow and create your own PowerShell, your own Windows module. What is pure PowerShell? Agenda, maybe the initial question, how many of you use Ansible? Okay. How many of you use Ansible to work with Windows machines? How many of you create any module? Okay. Yeah. Yesterday I counted modules what are available for Windows, and for Windows with prefixes win underscore. Yesterday evening was published 81 modules. For other platforms, for other solutions, it was much bigger. It was related also to the situation that only 2 persons are paid by Red Hat, who is Red Hat both Ansible a few years ago, and now as previously it's an open source project, but sponsored by Red Hat. So only 2 people work for extend Ansible to Microsoft-related technologies, what means also Azure, not only exactly Windows platform itself. So we will start from quick introduction to Ansible and requirement for managed Windows hosts. I will introduce later I will introduce you to modules what are used by Ansible and in modules for Windows especially. I will introduce 2 projects what I started for that presentation. The first one is PSS LMGR and Win underscore PSS LMGR rearm. That's tools, that modules are PowerShell implementation of slmgr.vbs script, but more later. I will provide you the list of resources what can be helpful to start your journey in that area, and any links what are included in my slides will be available in the separate text file in materials what I publish later, probably on the weekend. So you don't need to take pictures, they will be available. Okay, so as I told, Ansible is owned and sponsored by Red Hat. And what Ansible is, 2 quotes. It's Ansible is radically simple IT automation platform that makes your application and system easier to deploy. And Ansible agentless and powerful open source IT automation. Both are from web pages related to, but quotes are from pages related to Ansible, one from main Ansible web page, the second from is a part of description of Ansible project at GitHub. Ansible is mostly wrote in Python, but for Windows is used pure PowerShell. Any Python things are run at management host. About that, I will tell what management host means. I will tell you a little bit later. You can find two names. Ansible is equal Ansible Core, what is offered by Red Hat as a product with support. Okay, Ansible generally have to be used with Linux, even if that Linux will be Windows subsystem for Linux. I saw instruction how you can install, but generally it's not supported. It's not used by me because my daily computers are based on Linux. If I have to use Windows, sometimes I reboot to Windows, or usually I use virtual machines as under that presentation. Ansible generally is available for almost all modern Linux distribution, but can also be installed via Python PIP package manager, or can be run from a Docker container. Especially, I would like to focus you on that project, what is sponsored and maintained by Groupon. It's very interesting because they prepared solution when you put everything what you need for your Ansible workflow to the container. Means not only operating system in image, but also Ansible installation, but also playbooks and other dependencies. They prepared something. I think that this is the most interested implementation to how to run Ansible inside Docker container. Okay. For that presentation, I will use a virtual machine, what is based on Vagrant, and what we do for that demo one. It's a Windows 10 machine. What is important here that ports in that machine are mapped by Vagrant to different ports. So 5986 is mapped to 558, just 50,000 more, because you will see how it's generally to run Ansible, you have to have two or maybe one, two. Generally two. The Ansible CFG is not mandatory, can be used and customized per project, but that's two things are mandatory. Playbook what I show you in a moment, and inventory file. Inventory file for this demo looks like here. I have one host. I have one host with IP address localhost, other variables related to that group of hosts, because that can be shared or can be set for any port. It's a port will be used for communication. Communication to Windows host is made by Ansible use WinRM, and additional settings what have to be done in that kind of test environment is to ignore certification validation, because certificate used later by WinRM listeners will be self-signed, and they are dynamically generated under the presentation. So now we can check if our now we can check if PVD, if we can communicate from Ansible to that node. Okay. For checking of no, it's not okay. This command is for checking if everything is okay. I use that one command. Means Ansible provide at least two modes. One is direct CLI, and the tool is named Ansible, and to apply playbooks, and will be used Ansible_playbook for that. As you see, in this moment we have Ansible try to connect and reached timeout, what is set by default for 30 seconds, because my test host is not prepared to be accessible via remote management. For this, for purpose of this presentation, I use to prepare the host script provided by Ansible project in examples, and I will run it exactly on the host, because Ansible provide also sharing of sorry, I need to. It can be to run under administrator privileges. Okay, now let's retry our connection to the host. That's simple win _ping, verify if the managed node is accessible from management node. Any tools what I use in general are available at the beginning only on management node, and if needed I will copy them. So now our node is ready to be managed. I would like to focus your attention that it's not visible almost, but the license for this node is expired. VBS, the L, probably. Sorry, activation ID, display detail, the LE. Okay, now it's generally my status of my license is notification because it's evaluation, enterprise evaluation edition. So let's look inside to Ansible CFG file because we can knowledge that something is there can be also helpful under development and testing. Generally, Ansible try to find settings in settings and libraries, modules, etc. Parts of that that tool in the special catalogs, but that catalogs can be customized, as you will see later also. Usually, or by default, Ansible communicates with managed hosts using SSH. So for Windows, we need to declare it specially. A lot of things is here, so my advice is to read that file. Generally, for the purpose of the presentation, we use unmodified Ansible CFG. Another one thing, what sometimes is can happen if you try to use modules what are not intended to be used with Windows, like without that prefix win underscore, you can receive very cryptic response. Ping is module what can be used by SSH. We need to check for a while. So we have a bunch of errors returned by. So it's generally the reason what we receive that it's we try to use a module what is not intended to be executed on a Windows host. Okay. Ansible modules in general. Modules are the workhorse of Ansible. It's a quote from the book. Link in the book is Mastering Ansible, 2nd edition. If you are interested to start development, it's one of the books which contain the chapter about extending. All module code is transported and executed on target. Especially, I would like to focus your attention on the word transport, because to execute things faster, code is not copied but transferred to standard input on the host. So it's a little tricky sometimes, but it's a good explained in the presentation, for which link you can find in resources at the end of the presentation. Everything what is copied between management node and managed nodes is JSON structures. Means everything what we have on the host, we have is compute on the host, on management host, and sent as a JSON. There is executed, and Ansible expect that the JSON will be received back also. So it is important under development. I will explain later a little more. Generally, all module codes is contained in single file. Module in meaning of Ansible module, because later I will introduce PowerShell module, what will be also used, and Ansible module will be only wrapper for PowerShell module. Why? Because I would like to create a tool what can be natively used for Windows, and additionally, because the module is a single file and is copied to the managed node, if it should be as small as possible to decrease a time to execution. If you would like to share part of your modules or part of your code, you can use special module, kind of modules, module utils. Some of them are included in Ansible installation itself. We will talk about that later. And modules, as I told, are searched in several places, but subfolder library is usually the best place where you can find where you can put your module under development. You can if you use Galaxy, if you use Ansible, you can use something very similar to PowerShell Gallery, what is named Ansible Galaxy. You can also Ansible Galaxy is the same like PowerShell Gallery, but to publish publicly, or you can even install Ansible Galaxy in your own environment to host your own private modules. To what can be sorry, not modules but rules. It's like equivalent of ready-to-use receipts for Ansible. It can and that roles can contain also modules. Sorry. Okay. Generally, as I told, PowerShell, Ansible Windows module are PS1 scripts. Documentation is provided in Python version and is compiled by tools by tools available in Ansible, to documentation available on the web page, or you can even read on your host. I told you previously that Ansible expects that communication between management node and managed node is a JSON. So everything what is displayed on the managed host is not displayed in Ansible itself. Need to be written to JSON, what would be sent back to management node. So in your PowerShell code, you generally you can't use write host, write error, write debug, etc. Because it will not work with Ansible correctly. I will show you what I did to make it possible. Ansible Windows modules are run with setStrict mode version 2.0. So under development, you should declare it also. General rule is that Ansible modules should be compatible with Windows Server 2008 and Windows Vista or newer versions with PowerShell 3.0 installed. Or, of course, you can limit if something is not available under the older platforms, but you should state it exactly in the documentation. Common modules used for Windows you can find under module utils. And most important for us is Ansible.moduleutils legacy.ps1. I will show you what we can find in this file. For the purpose of this presentation, I little changed that file because I translated comments what were here to PowerShell style. I didn't create yet pull request for Ansible, but I will do it soon. So the module provides several functions what can help us to prepare our own Ansible Windows module. As you can see, I use PowerShell 6.1 Preview 1 on my Fedora 27. Ansible. Oops. Warning that not all verbs are approved, like should be in PowerShell, but get command. This function we can use to help yourself to prepare a module. Also, other are available. You can find link in the at the end of the slides, in resources, and also in the file with links. But let's look what is inside. Especially that's modules that functions help us to parse arguments. Means to translate a JSON file what is received by managed host as a JSON file what is received by managed host to arguments and And the next, that arguments validate in some way, like you can see here, get Ansible param. It's a function, very useful when you can verify or declare how should be treated the parameters taken from from JSON. That something should be converted to string, to bool, or to other type. Unfortunately, not all types of PowerShell parameters are supported here. For example, it's not easy yet, but I have idea to extend it. Verify if the string is a separate string or is treated as an array. So I know that's what I show you later. It's have some limitations still, but it's like proof of concept. You can see that add warning function is available, and something like fail JSON, what can be returned if something is wrong in our module, without thinking about how you can use it and return the fail. You just use fail JSON function and provide message what should be displayed. It helps. Okay, and now you can find that. Sorry. Oop, not this one. Sorry, I don't know how I can move that shitty toolbar. Okay, so in the we will use two projects. The one is the PS SLMGR. It's PowerShell implementation of. Oops, it's not correctly on this on the description, but is SLMGR VBS. It will be available soon on GitHub. And additionally, the Ansible module, what is also available, and okay, demo 3. Okay, so here we are. Probably everyone of you used SLMGR VBS for rearm of computer installing a license or something like that. It's 3,400 lines of code. It's not PowerShell. It's the most PowerShell is PowerShell. VBS is, in my opinion, is should be deprecated. So I think that I try to rewrite functionalities at least. That's what I can, and we will see. Of course, you will be welcomed as a contributors, and I hope that it will be helpful for community. So now we have okay, we are going back to my Windows machine and try to, as you can see, get module. didn't return any information about PS SLMGR module because it's not installed yet. So I will do it now. Of course, for that, I will use Ansible. And now our Ansible module is available on the host. See, program files, Windows, PowerShell, modules, SLMGR. Currently, 2 public functions are available. Well, you can get license status and you can invoke rearm. But in private, you can find more tools what can be next used to create the additional functionalities. So let's check what did this model return. Get license. Okay. Import. Oops. Get license status. Oof. Why? Interesting. License status. License status details probably return the same. Try this way, get license status, verbose. License status cannot be found on this object. I'm afraid that I tweaked yesterday something, but this function is not crucial for my next part of presentation. More crucial is the second one, what I would like to use now. So I just invoke rearm Windows. Okay, I'm sure that I would like to do it. And I receive, please restart the system for the changes to take effect. Restart computer. Still, the background of pulpit is not refreshed, but I realized that it's after the second restart. So now I would like to show you the part what is probably the most interested for you, means the PowerShell code what is responsible for run that module what is available on the host using Ansible remotely. Of course, we need to add shebang, also mandatory information about license, about required module, and about Ansible requirements was introduced in most modern, in the latest version of Ansible 2.5. It's important because we can run commands as a system. So you can see that params what are delivered via JSON are parsed by the functions, and next that parameters are translated to the internal variables used in the code. So I use that function get Ansible param, and I provide the list of parameters used in the code. Verify if the module is available on the host, and next some little logic what should be done, like currently only rearming Windows is implemented, so I return here. I didn't show error, but I return fail JSON. And next, if check mode is like what if in PowerShell, in Ansible is named check mode, I uninvoke rearm but with what if. And additionally, I create the object. Generally, everything is next added as a properties to the object result. What next by the predefined common function exit JSON is returned back to Ansible management host. What I did in invoke rearm function from PSSLMGR module to be compatible with Ansible, I added additional parameter set, what I named Ansible mode, and in this because for pure PowerShell I used switch type of parameters. I can use it with Ansible, so I added here another one, rearm scope, what is used in this way. Additionally, I if Ansible mode is used, I return object what next is parsed by Windows Ansible module, not return it to the host because it will not be visible. Additionally, I think that in the second function I had throw, so I also wrapped it in Ansible mode in another way. So now we can try invoke rearm once again, but this time using Ansible commands. Okay. yeah, it's also last minute tweak. So I try to add handlers. So I just only one command. It's a very simple Ansible playbook that I have for which host should be that play used and which task should be used. So I use my own win PSSL-MGR rearm module, state rearmed, rearm scope Windows. So now you can see we have connection. And the my model was executed. What I can confirm when I use SLMGR DLI, I receive error to display the error text. Yes, because between rearm and restart, if you try to read information about license status, you receive errors. So it's like not direct confirmation that rearm was successful, but we can do it restart. Let's return to the presentation. Only a few slides left. Probably on the next two slides, I placed the most important things about creating Windows-related modules. Yeah, mentioned chapter of the book. What is, if you would like to really understand what is inside, you can watch the second one, presentation. Is mostly based on normal Python modules, but by analogy, it's very, very instructive. For me, if something means IRC channels are a normal communication and just only one communication channels for Ansible community and other Red Hat related. It was a little scared for me, but you can use the platform open source or riot.em, what allow you to use ERC in more Windows friendly way. You can create your free account, you can connect to the channel as I did here, and if you don't log in if you don't connect from that channel, you will receive even messages if you are not online, if you switch off computer. So for me, that's web interface to ERC is helpful. I'm not sure if Ansible plus PowerShell it's enough, so I asked my graphic team to that kind of question. My first impression that it's not very hard to create own module, but it's also required some initial work to learn. Ansible is a simple but a powerful tool. I hope that everyone already know that. But what I would like to add, Ansible has awesome, really awesome documentation. It's hosted as a source code on GitHub, can be extended by a community. If someone would like to add to official software project, you has to add documentation for the module. Module cannot be added without documentation. It's a general rule of that project. Managing of Windows is based via WinRAM. Probably in the near future will be available also via SSH. How connection plugins work, you can watch that video what I provided to you, the links. Ansible modules for Windows are PowerShell scripts, and you can use your own module utils or that provided by a community. Please be invited to collaborate on that module. Links are also somewhere in the presentation. Do you have any questions? At least version 3.0 and not PowerShell core yet. Generally, due to some recommended version is the newest available on the platform. So even they provide example script to update automatically to the newest version with download, etc. Yeah. Means if the managed node can be managed by if means executables via PowerShell.core. I'm not sure even if they would like to add in the near future. As I told, limited resources are, but they are open for contribution. Feel free. Okay. If someone will have another question, please ask me in the lobby or send email, something like that. Okay, next is 50-minute break and lunch. Enjoy.